Hi guys, and welcome to your class this week. Now this week I've put a class together specifically for my members that suffer sadly with arthritic pain or joint inflammation, anything that stops you occasionally moving. This is a class to keep you moving. So it's now widely considered that one of the best ways to tackle arthritis and arthritic pain is to not stop moving and rest, but to keep your body moving. Also, to add a little bit of extra load to stress the bones, which will then make the bones build stronger, and also to add a little bit of impact as well. And I know this is really challenging when your body is just saying, stop moving, everything hurts, but hopefully this is a gentle class, a gentle low impact class using hand weights that will just help you realize and give you the confidence to move again. So let's get moving. I have hand weights here, 1 kg each. I want you to pick up anything that adds a little bit of load to your movements that you can press overhead without feeling like you're disappearing into your shoulders. All of these movements can be done without the extra load, but I really would encourage you to try and find something that just adds that little bit more than your body weight. The other thing I would say is I want you to work within your pain threshold. So if you do feel intense pain and discomfort, then stop, okay? We're going to be working in sets today, so I'm going to repeat every set of moves twice so that by the second round you've really nailed it. So let's start. You need a chair. You will also need your mat and possibly a block and cushion, or just a cushion that's a little bit larger so that when we're lying on our side, our head is in the correct position. And you might also want to pop your trainers on. So if you feel more stable when you're standing and moving in your trainers, pop your trainers on, and we'll kick them off at the end when we do a little bit of mat work. So let's get moving. I've done enough talking. We're going to perch ourselves on the edge of the chair. Be aware of where you are and set your feet to hip distance and parallel. Take a weight in each hand and just lower the weights down to either side of you. I should also mention that your chair does need a back to it, ideally, and no arms, all right? So release those shoulders down. Feet firmly to the floor, the whole of the foot to the floor. Lift your head off your shoulders and get a sense of understanding how heavy the load, extra load is in your arms. So I want you to feel the shoulder blades releasing into the back and just finding that connection through the upper back. Now, all I want you to do from here, without rounding forwards or overly pitching forwards from the hips, is simply to stand, okay? Once you've stood, you're going to slowly take your bottom back down to the chair. You know it's there because it was there because you were just sitting on it, and bring yourself back down. So if you felt that the chair was a little bit too far away from you when you sat down, shimmy yourself on a little bit more, because we're going to go again. Stand and then lower back down. Just bump your bottom to the chair and then stand again. Now, as we're going through these movements, I want you to be very aware of the movement, any movement in your spine. It's really hinging hips and knees. Yeah, there might be a little bit of forwards pitch for the spine, but there certainly isn't any rounding through the shoulders. Stand, opening the hips, lengthening fully through the back of the knees, and then drop it back down. Control the descent. Slow, 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 bottom to chair. Stand. Keep it going. As you're standing, push down with the heels into the floor. Let's use those glutes to support us, even though you might feel like it's the front of your thighs doing most of the work. Here we go, lifting the head right up off the shoulders, lengthening up through the spine. 3 more. 2 to go. And one last one. Good work. Bring your bottom all the way down to the chair and just stick yourself forward so you're not leaning against the back of it. Tuck your elbows into your waist. Grow through the spine. Release the weight of the shoulders into the back and turn the palms to the ceiling, just carrying the weight in the palms. We're just going to rotate those forearms out to the side, opening across the chest, then float the elbows away from the waist without lifting the shoulders up to the ears. Let's go back in, bending and closing. We go again. Rotate and gently lengthen through the arms. Focus on that lovely tall and upright posture. Focus on the width we're creating across the chest and all that lovely rotational movement in the shoulder joint itself. Rotate, reach. Tuck the elbows in and close. Reach. Now with the next movement, or when we repeat this set, I'm going to give you a movement that's slightly more challenging than this, but still also really dives into the rotator cuff in the shoulders. So if that movement doesn't work for you, then you come back to this one. We're not there yet. Rotate, reach away, lifting the head off the shoulders. Be aware of any flaring forwards of the ribs as you rotate the arms out to the side. Let's go one more here. On one long out breath and one long in breath. Well done, lower the arms down. We're going to go into our standing and lowering position again. So drop the shoulders, lift the head. Press the heels down into the floor. We stand, open the hips. Tap your bottom to the chair. Stand. An alternative position for the arms here could be in front of the chest. Just making sure that if the arms are here, we're not disappearing into the shoulders or rounding the spine. Using those big, powerful muscles of the thighs and glutes to stand and control the lowering. Let's go 3 more. 1, 2, and 3. Bring the bottom down. Relax your arms for a moment. So let me now show you the slightly more challenging rotational movement. We're going to bring the elbows in front of the chest, tapping those weights kind of roughly in front of our forehead. We rotate out to the side, creating that width across the chest. Then we press overhead, bend and return. You're going to breathe in to rotate and breathe out to press overhead. Inhale, exhale. Breathe in, press open, create the width across the chest. Breathe out, press overhead. Inhale, exhale. If this is causing you pain in your shoulders, then I want you to bring it back to this one. Here, here. All right? Again, thinking of the rib to hip connection. So as you press overhead, I want you to think of your ribs almost trying to slide into connection with your hips. So no flaring forwards of the rib cage. 3 more. Lifting the head off the shoulders. 2 to go. 1 last one. And relax your arms by your side. Good. Give your shoulders a nice big roll out because they'll start to feel a little bit tense towards the tops of the shoulders when we go overhead and do lots of repetitions. So just drop them down and release them. Okay, guys. So we're going to step it up a little bit, slightly more challenging. I'm actually going to turn my chair for this one so you can see me side on. This is going to challenge your balance. And it's really important that we continue working on balance moves, especially when suffering from something like arthritis, because it really can affect our balance. So I'm going to step my right leg forwards and I'm going to prop my left foot up against the chair. I'm not going to do anything fancy with the arms. I'm just going to have them by my side. And all I'm delivering is extra load into my standing leg. Shoulders are packed. I'm going to take a little bend to the knee as I go down and then stand back up again. All right, that's it. But your posture is everything here. So as you go down, we're trying to avoid this rounding of the shoulders. So think as you're going down of your head is actually trying to lift upwards to the ceiling. Now, ideally you want your eyes to stay focused forwards. That's going to help you maintain that lovely upright spine. But for 1 or 2, I want you to just drop your eyes to look towards your knee as it bends, because I don't want the knee rolling in or out. It tracks above your foot. Drop your eyes. Try not to roll your shoulders forwards. Now, if this is not working for you and it's too wobbly, take your foot off the chair, just lift the back heel and do it like this. Okay, but most of your weight should still be in your front leg. because that's the leg we're working on strengthening. 3 to go. Squeezing the bottom as you stand upright, pushing down from the heel. Last one. Step both legs down. Take a little breather, because we've got to do the other leg now. Okay, shoulders relaxed into the back. Look at something that is not moving in front of you. All right, that's very helpful for our balance. And then step your foot up onto the chair. Okay, lovely and open across the hips. Shoulders drawn away from the ears. And we go again on this side now. Stand and lift. And up. Good. Push down with your heel into the floor. Feel how hard all the muscles of the feet and ankles, knees and hips, how hard they're all working. Just loose with the weights in your hands. Try not to overgrip, especially if you suffer with arthritis in your fingers. Yeah, we don't need to draw tension into the hands when we're holding weights. 3 more. 3, 2, and 1. Great work. Step the foot off the chair and bring yourself to a seated position back onto your chair. Bring your bottom towards the front edge of it and grow tall through the spine. This time we're going to just bend the elbows so the weights are just in front of the ribs there. And I want you to just pitch forwards and then straighten the arms out behind you. Now, in this position, make sure your shoulder blades are drawn together, your chest is open and slightly lifted, so we've not rounded through the upper back. Then we're going to come back up to upright, bend the elbows again and press the weights overhead. Bend the elbows, pitch forwards from the hips, keep your chest lifted, and this is called a tricep kickback. We just press the weights to the ceiling behind us to activate our triceps. Bend, we go upright, and we go into that overhead press. And again, pitch forwards, squeeze the weights back behind us, and then push overhead. And press. Pitch forwards, lovely and open across the chest. Lifting the head off the shoulders, so you're really lengthening out of the neck. Dropping the eye line slightly to the floor as you pitch forwards, and then eye line directly in front of you as you press overhead. 2 more here. One last one. Great work. Okay. Let's return to they call it a Bulgarian split squat. I have no idea why. So it's where one foot is to the floor and the other foot is propped up on an elevated platform, or you just have the heel lifted on the back leg and you place all the load through the front leg. So weights just stay by our side, nice and loose in the hands, chest open, and we draw down into the single leg squat and stand, making sure the weight is in the center of the foot. Yeah, rather than rolling in and out the side borders of the feet. And then you know that the knee is directly tracking above the foot and we've got a good neutral alignment for the ankle and knee joint. Squeeze and lift. Good. Resist on the downward movement and then power from the upward movement. 3 more. 2, 1 last one for 3. Good. Stand fully through that leg and take the foot off the chair and switch to the other side. We go again. Shoulders relaxed, arms just, weights just adding that little bit of extra load to your front leg as we bend and straighten. So by lifting the back leg on a platform, it means that we have to place all the load through that front leg. Yeah, that's the one we're working on. The hip, the muscles surrounding the knees, the ankles and feet. Good work. Breathe in, breathe out. Last two. One more. And stand all the way out of the leg and place the foot down. Good. Find the chair behind you again. Bottom to the front edge. And we're going to do the same movement that we did before. So you bend the elbows just above the hips. Weights in front of the chest or weights in front of the ribs. Pitch the body forwards, but keep the chest open and then kick back those weights to the ceiling. Pull the shoulder blades together to activate the upper back muscles. Then we come up to upright and into an overhead press. And press. And trying not to disappear into the shoulders as we push the weights up. If you find that by trying to bring your biceps to your ears, you disappear into your shoulders, then just bring your arms to here as you overhead press, rather than all the way up, okay? Then you can drop the shoulders as you lift the weights, and you can find those shoulder stabilizing muscles more effectively. And press. Press. Let's do 3 more here. Accessing the upper back and our triceps, and then the shoulders as we press the weights overhead. Last one. Good work. And relax your arms down. Amazing, well done. Okay, let's come back up to standing again. So I'm going to take the chair around to this angle now, and I'm going to use the back of the chair for a little bit of balance. Okay, so put one weight down. Stand next to your chair with your hand resting on the chair. Now you can be like this, or we can be like this. I'll come side on for you because it's a little bit easier for you to see what I'm doing with my body. So I'm going to take the left hand to the back of the chair, holding the weight in the right hand. I'm going to bring that weight to my temple. I'm going to lift my right leg off the floor, standing out of that left leg and pressing the weight overhead. And then I'm going to just tap the toes to the floor and bend the elbow. So really working on the standing leg as opposed to focusing on the mobilizing leg. We lift the knee and press overhead. The back of the chair is there just to help with a little bit of stability. Let's just do 2 more here. Press, lifting the head off the shoulders. And we're going to add something to this move now. So now I want you to lower the weight down to your side. Begin to pitch your body forwards. Be a little bit soft in the standing leg as you come all the way down. So you can see I've hinged forwards from the hips. The weight is trying to pull me down, but I'm going to just keep the shoulders packed into the back and the chest lifted to avoid any dropping and rounding through the upper back. And then I want you to stand back up again and press the weight back to the ceiling as you lift the knee on the same side. And we go again, bending a little bit into your standing leg, the weight lowers, and press. So it's a little bit more complicated, this one, but what we're really trying to do is drill into that standing leg. Focus on your posture. I taught this to one of my lovely clients in a one-to-one session yesterday, and she suffers with arthritis. And one of the things we noticed whilst I was teaching this particular move to her, it was very tempting for her to round forwards in this one, to try and almost touch the floor. I actually want you to think of trying to pull your breastbone forwards and just holding the weight, yeah? Just let it dangle from your hand a little bit. 2 more on this side. You should really be feeling that standing leg now. A little bend to the knee as you go down, then stand out of it as you lift the weight to the ceiling. Last one. And lift. Good work. So I'm going to take myself to the chair and put the weight down. And I'm going to take my fingers to the back of the chair. So I'm not adding any extra load to this one. I'm going to stand with my feet in first position. So if you have done any dancing at all, you'll know heels together, toes slightly apart. Resting the fingertips to the back of the chair for a little bit of help with my balance. Shoulders down. I'm going to begin by lifting my heels up. Then I'm going to take a bend to my knees. The knees will slightly open. Then I'm going to lower the heels down and stand back out through the legs. Lift up with the heels, mobilizing the ankles. Bend the knees, mobilizing knees and hips. Lower the heels, straighten the legs. So fundamentally, this is a mobilization exercise for the feet and ankles and knees. But it's also very much a strengthening one for the feet and ankles. So if you wanted to go a little bit harder, you could take weights into your hands. You wouldn't be able to touch the chair now, and you'd have to work a little bit harder on your balance, but you'd go up again with the heels, bending the knees, lowering the heels, and straightening the legs. Bend, heels drop, legs straighten. Lift heels on the balls of your feet. Bend the knees, grow tall, lift your head to the ceiling. Drop the heels, straighten the legs, 2 more. Lovely gentle mobility movement for the feet, ankles, knees and hips. One last one. Trying not to pitch the body forwards as those knees bend out. And stand, good work. Right, let's take it to the other side. So I'm going to take my right hand now to the chair. I'm going to bring my left hand in line with the temple, holding that weight. And I'm going to go up into a knee fold, standing knee fold for the left knee, and an overhead press for the arm. Now just focus on your posture, your lovely upright stance, before we add the forwards hinge. Press. All right, here we go, last one. Press, then bring the weight all the way down to your side, hinge forwards from the hips, extend the leg out behind you, soften further into your right knee. And then we're gonna stand, sweep the knee in front of the hip again, and press overhead, and we go. Hinge forwards, pack the shoulders, draw the breastbone forwards, feel the load drawing further into your standing leg, but make sure you're sitting it back into the heel, into that right heel. Yeah, rather than leaning forwards into the ball of the foot, which would look more like this. Yeah, I want to sit back into the heel. Shoulders are packed. Stand overhead press. Bending a little into that right knee, so we're getting a nice little bit of mobility into the standing leg. Two more. One last one. And take the leg down. Good work. Right. I'm now going to have you standing behind your chair, stepping your right leg forwards, your left leg back. I've got my right hand on the chair. And I'm going to again do another mobility exercise for the feet, ankles and knees. Lifted with the back heel. Now bend into both legs. Roll forwards so you're on the ball of your right foot. Roll back. Roll forwards and back. Now as you roll forwards, you're going to feel the work going into the front of that thigh. Roll back. Keep the back heel lifted. Just shift the weight forwards and back. If you don't need the chair, hands to hips, or hold both weights in your hands just down by your side. And just work this rolling motion. And you should feel lots and lots of work here going into the thighs. The muscles surrounding the knees are knee stabilizers. And there's some lovely mobility going on in that front foot and ankle. 3 more. 2 and 3. Well done. I had imaginary weights in my hands there. Just switch your legs around. You can turn yourself around if you want to. So the other hand is resting on the chair. I'll do it facing you still. So again, bend into both knees in this split stance position. Lift the heel on the front leg. Roll forwards to the ball of the foot. Drop the heel down and roll back. A little bit of movement as well through the back ankle. Yeah, lift the heel on both feet as you roll the weight forwards. The back heel possibly won't drop down to the floor, but the front heel should as you rock the weight backwards. Try and stay upright with your spine. Pick up your weights. Hold them to the side of your hips if you can do this without needing to hold on to the chair. Good. 2 more. Harder work than it looks, this one. Good work. Stand up. That was tough. Okay, we're going back to picking up one weight in our right hand, left hand to the chair, standing out of the left leg, And we're folding the right knee above the hip and pressing the weight overhead. Then we're going to go straight into the forwards hinge, bending into the left knee, reaching the leg out behind. And we go, press overhead. And press. Two more here. One, lift the head off the shoulders, drive your breastbone forwards, and set your feet down. Take it over to the other side. Standing out of your right leg, bringing the weight to the temple on the left side. Press overhead into that standing knee fold, and then forwards hinge. Bend deeper into your right leg, then stand out of it as you press up. You don't have to go at this speed. Yeah, slow it down if you need to. Two more. One last one. Excellent. Good work, guys. Okay, that's your standing work done. But we are going to continue using the chair, but I want you to take the chair, the back of it, up against a wall or something sturdy where it's not going to move. Okay, then I'm going to take my mat and pop it in front of the chair. So at this point you can take your shoes off if you've got shoes on. Okay, because we're going to do a little bit of mat work, because our Pilates mat work is honestly just fabulous for staying mobile through our spine and strong in our core. Right, socks off. Okay, so your hand weights are optional for this one. Yeah, we'll start without them, and then I'll tell you how you can use them if you want to. I wouldn't use a head cushion for the first move. We're going to lie ourselves down on the mat, taking the feet or the heels towards the top of the chair. Lengthen your spine in its neutral position, with the backs of the arms and the palms pressed down to your side. So when I say neutral, I mean drawing your tail out towards the chair legs, feeling a little pick up there in your low back, but finding weight through the back of the rib cage, across the shoulder blades and the back of your head. So let's take a breath in here. As we breathe out, we're going to curl the tail under and just find that imprint of the lower back into the mat. Now scoop the belly and you press the heels down as you slowly peel your spine up and away. Breathe in at the top of the lift. Breathe out and think imagine that you could count your vertebrae down as they float one at a time into the mat. Tail remains tucked. Lower back releases and the tail then now lengthens out back towards the chair legs. Let's go again. Breathe in. Breathe out. Curl the tail. Imprint first. And as you press your heels down and your hips rise, backs of the legs are switching on. Glutes. Hips are opening. Breathe in at the top of that lift. As you breathe out, pull the belly in and release the back ribs down first. Then the mid back. Then the lower back. And then unfurl your tail out towards the chair legs. And again, curls. And lift. Breathing in that lovely high bridge. Breathe out. Slowly release the bones down. Now, if this doesn't work for you with your feet up on a chair, just put your feet to the floor and continue with your feet on the floor. It's not quite as intense, but it might work better for your body, okay? Just keep moving. Please try not to just stop and go, I can't do it. There's always modifications. Good. Lovely. And open across the chest. Mobilizing beautifully, gently through each vertebra. Hollowing the tummy out. So suck your belly button in as though you're trying to pull it in towards your spine. One last one. Breathing in and slowly breathing out. Now, I did say there was a version that you could do with hand weights. Let me just show you what that is. You would hold the weights to your side. Keep the arms down as you wheel the spine up. So the backs of the arms stay down. And then as you roll the spine down, you press the weights upwards to the ceiling. So you come into a little chest press. And then you curl the tail under, bend those elbows wide, and lift the hips up. And then roll the bones down and just press the weights up above the chest as you return. Okay, so that's the version that you would do if you wanted to use the weights. So now, taking the weights back to the floor, bringing the arms a little bit wider. So we're really wide across the upper back. We're going to mobilize the hips here. So heels resting on the edge of the chair. Nice and wide. Get your legs out as wide as you can. Think about your hips staying, or your hip bones pointing upwards to the ceiling. That's where they stay. You're just going to lower one knee in and let the opposite knee fall away. Rotating in the hips. And then bring it back to center. And to the other side. Again, this can be done without the feet on the chair. Just put your feet to the floor. Create the same movement with the feet on the floor. Drop the middle leg in first and then allow the opposite leg to fall out open. Now you might feel a little bit of rotation there across the back of the pelvis. A little bit of pickup there for the hip. That's okay. Yeah? Just want you to keep moving. Ideally, I want those hip bones to stay pointing to the ceiling rather than rolling all the way across. But just enjoy this lovely supported mobility movement for the hips. And don't worry about using the weights. Just focus on that movement. Lovely, gently using the breath. Let me show you how this looks if the feet are on the floor. The feet are on the floor again, place them nice and wide and just sway. The legs across to one side. You can actually put your hands on your hips as well to give you a little bit of feedback for the front line of the body. One more either side. And return it all back. Good work. All right, now we're going to allow the lower back to move. So you're going to let the pelvis actually pick up on one side. So it's the same movement, but this time as you take the knees across, allow the hip to really lift up and away. Now in this position, as you've peeled the back of the pelvis off, just be aware the ribs might want to flare. Then you've lost your frontline connection. So I want you to keep thinking of burying those lower ribs in the body driving them towards the hips. And to the other side, take the knees and legs first, then allow the hip to peel away. And again. And again, of course, this can also be done with the feet to the floor. The part of the body I do want you to focus on maintaining stability through is your upper back. Yes, keep both shoulder blades pressed down into the mat behind you. You can also add a little bit of movement through the neck. So as the legs sway across and the hip peels away, turn your head towards the opposite shoulder. And let's get a little bit of gentle mobility going into the cervical spine. Good, one more either side. Lovely, guys, well done. So now we're going to take the feet off the chair. You're going to grab your block and cushion or just a slightly plumper cushion to take your head down onto. Pick up one weight in your hand. And again, the weight is optional. Lying yourself down with your knees and feet forwards. We're not using the chair for this one. Bring your weight down into the underneath, connecting into the underneath hand. Shoulders are stacked, top hip dropped. We're going to breathe in, lift the weight up to the ceiling. Slide your shoulder into your back and breathe out as you press the weight behind you, turning your ribs and opening your chest to the ceiling. If the weight is too heavy, do it without. Breathe in, lift the weight up, and breathe out, return the hand down. Inhale, we lift up. Now, drop that shoulder, keep it dropped into the back, and breathe out, twisting back. Inhale to lift, exhale to return. Okay, so if you are suffering with arthritis in your shoulders, you might rather do this without the extra load. Because this is really about mobilizing your upper back, yeah? It's about that rotation, that turning towards the ceiling with the chest, and that lovely opening across the chest there, stretching the upper pecs. Okay, it's not about overworking the arm and shoulder. So if that weight, extra load is causing you discomfort, then lose it. 2 more. Breathe in, we go up. Breathe out, press back. Inhale to lift. Exhale to return. One last one. And return. Let's do the other side. Okay. Knees and feet forwards. Palm to palm. Again, breathe in, lift the weight up, drop the shoulder. It's the most important part of the move. And then press back. I'm going to show you what this looks like if you don't drop the shoulder. Okay? So, if you don't drop the shoulder into the back and the shoulder stays here, then the arm will go back, the shoulder will pop forwards, and now I'm not really moving my upper back at all. Yeah? I've just moved within my shoulder, and it's an unstable movement. So I'm going to go up, drop the shoulder into the back, and now my arm acts as a lever to turn my spine, and that's what I want. It's a revelation moment for a lot of my clients when we do this, when they find that shoulder connection. Makes such a huge difference to the movement. One more. Squeezing the knees together. And return. Good work. Pop the weight down on the floor. And let's just finish on all fours, if you're comfortable being on your knees here. Hands onto the mat. Spread your palms into the mat and push the mat away from you with your arms. Shoulders sliding into the back. Tail lengthening behind you. Take a breath in. As you breathe out, curl the tail under, pulling the belly button in. Now press up through your mid-back, then up between your shoulder blades. And now drop your head and look at your knees. Breathe into that cat curl. Breathe out. Lengthen your tail. Flatten through mid-back, upper back. And lift the head up in line with the shoulders. And again, inhale here. Exhale, curl under. Scoop the belly. Round the spine. Breathe in. Breathe out, re-lengthen. Now, I do have some clients that feel a lot of tension in their wrist in this position. So if you're not finding relief by really opening the palms into the mat, then yes, you've got the option of coming up onto your fists, but that might not be ideal for you either. So you can also grab a block and take your hands into this position onto a block and lean more weight back into the legs. Can you see now the wrist joint is a little bit more open? And then I can work from there, and that's really helped take any tension out of the wrists. So you can really focus then on the spinal movement that you're achieving rather than the discomfort in your wrist, because that's what it's all about. It's about segmentally moving those vertebrae one at a time to keep the spine happy, healthy, and mobile. 2 more here. One last one. And then push the floor away from you. Settle your bottom down towards your heels. And just stretch forwards in your prayer position. And breathe. And appreciate what your body's just done for you. Yeah, and don't be afraid of moving. This is the beauty of Pilates, is it allows you, it gives you that confidence to go, I can still move without pain and discomfort. And with that consistent movement, you will start to feel better in your body. Yeah, you'll feel more confident, you'll feel less pain. I promise you, because I've seen it with my own clients, and it is a revelation to them. The other thing I wanted to mention is there's been a lot of research recently that has suggested that a slightly more higher impact form of exercise is really useful for arthritis sufferers. I would not advocate putting your trainers on and going for a run, okay? This is not, I don't think, the high impact they're referring to. But what you could do is perhaps next time you go for a walk, make it a slightly more powerful walk. Pick up your step a little bit more so that when you are placing the foot to the floor, there is a little bit more impact in the placement of the foot rather than a shuffle walk, okay? Because the theory is that if we are stressing the bones of the body with more high impact movements, with more load, then we're going to increase the bone density, which is what it's all about. So that's the theory, but you have to work within your own range and within your own pain threshold as well. So I hope that's been helpful to you. And if arthritis isn't something, if you're very lucky and you don't suffer with arthritis, then tell a friend or a client about this class. I'm going to also put this class up on YouTube, so it will be free as well to access on YouTube. So you don't have to be an app member to access this class, because I just honestly do feel that the more movement you can do when you're suffering with arthritis, the better. So I want to get this class out there for as many people as possible. So please spread the word. And yes, that's it for now. If you've got any more specific things you want me to address, physical issues that you want me to address, then just put a little message on the group chat, or send me a message and I'll research it like crazy for you and try and come up with a class. So have a wonderful weekend and I will see you all soon. Take care. Bye bye.